What is up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today we are getting started with an update on last night's fights. We are almost done with week 1 of 6 in this long layoff between UFC events. However, the MMA community has still been treated to some action. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Last night Tony Ferguson fought Spencer Warren and it is safe to say he is back. He put on a strong performance and won on the scorecards. Tony is now 2-0 in boxing and deserves a lot of credit for that showing. Another notable name on the card was Andrew Tate, but his night did not go as planned. The MMA community quickly reacted after Tate lost his boxing match against Jaise by majority decision in a result that shocked many fans. Going into the fight, Tate was a heavy favorite due to his kickboxing background, while Tate was known mainly as a TikTok influencer. Tate faded in the later rounds and was ultimately beaten. Following the fight, the MMA community roasted Andrew Tate for both his performance and his online antics. Sean Strickland said that a kickboxing title means nothing and claimed Tate had been exposed. Jaise fired back at Strickland with a heated response. Michael Bisping called the performance hilariously bad. Vince Morales joked about the loss and pointed out the excuses being made. Darren Till even walked out of the event while it was still live and said he was unlearning boxing by watching it. He later posted a video online roasting the event and the performance.
I consider myself one of the best striking martial artists on the world. And then a pair of numpties like that call me out and I'm sat ringside. I have to leave because it disrespects everything I believe in, everything I've trained for. It's just, what am I watching? I'm actually unlearning as I'm watching. So yeah, what? Not for social media. Social media has given you all a voice. Because in my DMs, it's all, lad, do this or do that. But not one of yous come up to me and do this and that.
Aljamain Sterling calls out the featherweight division. Last night, Aljamain Sterling called out several notable names in the featherweight division. Sterling made it clear that he is ready for new challenges and wants to test himself against the top fighters at 145. He expressed confidence in his skills and believes he can make an immediate impact in the division. Check this out.
I'm drinking Funk Harbor, and it only gets me stronger. Lerone Murphy, I'm ready for you. February or even March in your hometown. Bring the heat, I'm ready. Yair Rodriguez, I'm ready. Mozart Evloev, I won that fight. I'm ready. Bring the heat, I'm ready for all you suckers. I'm ready to fight. Tell Dana White, get you guys right. If you want to go to the White House, I'll go to the White House too and up. At the end of the day, I'm here to make money, baby. Bring the funk, bring the harbor, bring the heat. Let's go. I'm 36. I ain't getting younger. Let's shit'll get off the pot. Come on.
Sparring footage emerges between Islam Makhachev and Usman Nurmagomedov. Sparring footage has surfaced showing Islam Makhachev and Usman Nurmagomedov training together. Do not expect to ever see Islam and Usman fighting each other inside the cage, at least not for money. However, we are about to show you the two friends and teammates throwing hands during a sparring session. Recently, this footage was released which shows Makhachev and Nurmagomedov sparring ahead of Islam's championship win at UFC 322. The clip quickly caught the attention of the MMA community as fans got a rare look at two elite fighters testing each other in the gym. As this video is being produced, it is still not known when or who Makhachev will face in his first fight as the UFC's welterweight champion. However, he has already called for a matchup against former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman. Meanwhile, Usman Nurmagomedov is set to defend the PFL lightweight title against Alfie Davis on February 7th at the Jake Paul event. Jake Paul reveals sad news about his health following the Anthony Joshua fight. Jake Paul surprised many people with his performance on Friday and made more money in one night than most families will earn in generations. However, the YouTuber did not come out of the fight unscathed. as most people saw Paul manage to survive 5 rounds with the former heavyweight champion. In the 6th round, Joshua stopped Paul with a massive right hook. Immediately after the fight, Paul said he believed his jaw was broken, and it turns out it was broken in 2 places. Paul later shared an X-ray on Instagram along with a message saying his jaw was double broken. He said surgery went well and thanked fans for the support. Paul revealed he now has titanium plates on both sides of his jaw, had some teeth removed, and will be limited to liquids for 7 days. Conor McGregor was clearly watching the fight and posted a reaction online giving Paul credit for the effort. Anderson Silva also competed on the card as he defeated fellow former UFC champion Tyron Woodley. Since Silva boxed Paul back in 2022 and lost by decision, it was not surprising that he was asked to comment on Paul following the fight.
The people need to respect Jake, you know, and imagining Jake little big and having more time to training for this fight. You know, I think Jake improved a lot. The people need to respect him. I don't say that only because I'm fight here in a company, but it's because Jake, the people need to respect Jake, you know. I mean, every single fight go inside the ring, everybody needs respect.
Even before the fight was over, and in fact before the first round had even ended, Anthony Joshua was already taking heat online for not finishing Jake Paul sooner. Going into the bout, many people believed Paul would not last more than 30 seconds against the hard-hitting former heavyweight champion. Because Joshua appeared tentative at times early and missed with several big shots, it did not take long for fans to start questioning if something strange was going on. One example came from Brendan Schaub, who shared that opinion immediately after the fight. On Saturday, Schaub did not completely walk back those comments, but the former UFC fighter did acknowledge that Paul has been responsible for bringing a massive amount of attention and interest to boxing over the last few years.
Here's the one thing nobody realizes about Jake Paul. Say what you want about him when it comes to fighting and last night's Anthony Joshua fight. I have some questions too. That's all fine and dandy. The Mike Tyson fight, all that, I get that. But the one thing nobody realizes is no one's done more for the sport of boxing than Jake Paul in the last 15 years. Not even remotely close. Say what you want about him. I get the criticisms. I get the questions about the fights. I get all that. But who's been more important to the sport of boxing than Jake Paul?
UFC social media host Nina Drama also made it clear during the fight that she believed Anthony Joshua's approach was suspect and questioned his performance as the bout was unfolding.
Times where Joshua just left it out there, just out there. Just left his jab out there. And he could have followed up. He could have, look at him, it's just out there. Yeah. It's just, oh, he's pushing him back. Okay, he's trying to keep the distance. Okay, fine. But then look, and then half the time he's just kind of like this. And then.
Further, Jake Paul's response to a post from the Hoops account on X also raised some eyebrows. The post asked, "Would you let someone break your jaw for $92 million?" Paul replied yes, but then questioned Joshua's performance. He asked whether Joshua was simply nervous about getting clipped because a loss would have been the death nail to his career, or if something else was going on. All of that aside, it remains to be seen what comes next for Paul, who has made it clear he plans to continue boxing. While Paul is still calling out Canelo Alvarez, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson believes it is time for Paul to take a more traditional path in boxing. Here is some of what the legend had to say about Paul's future.
The biggest thing is that I love to see him get his cardio in check. I love to see some more technique and rhythm when he fights. I would want to work on just that speed, agility, that tempo change. He doesn't really have that yet. And I think for somebody who's successful, wealthy, can have the state-of-the-art training, that should be something that it should come natural. I mean, I think he could probably lose a little weight, get more shredded, and be a lot faster than being a cruiserweight. I don't know what that weight class is. And I like to see him fight a boxer, not an influencer, a boxer. I'd love to see him fight Darren Till, a real fighter who's good at boxing, a good size, big man. And I just like to see him continue to fight guys who box, who are 8-2, 9-2, or 7-4, 7-3. I don't know. Just I want to see him keep on fighting boxers, and I think it's only going to make him better.
Will anyone really want to watch if Paul decides to fight fledgling or journeyman boxers that no one has ever heard of? And what happens if he were to lose again? Anderson Silva talks about his next fight. As mentioned earlier in the video, Anderson Silva returned to action on Friday and put Tyron Woodley away in highlight reel fashion. So what is next for the now 50-year-old legend in his fighting career? Immediately after stopping Woodley in the second round, Silva spoke with Ariel Helwani and said he would go back to work right away and begin training at the police academy for the Beverly Hills Police Department. He said he wants to give something back to the United States but made it clear that this was not his last fight and that he plans to compete again at the next event. When asked to name a potential opponent, Silva brought up the man who ended his historic run as UFC middleweight champion Chris Weidman. Silva said that Weidman is his venom and added that he knows Weidman is dealing with an arm injury but is willing to wait for him to recover so they can put on a show and show how former UFC fighters can perform in boxing. Considering Weidman was originally scheduled to box Silva at the event before suffering an injury, it would not be surprising to see this matchup rebooked. Weidman was quick to respond on social media saying congratulations to Silva and confirming that he is down for the fight, saying your venom is here and that he will see him soon. At the post-fight press conference, Silva was also asked about his future and how long he plans to continue fighting. The Brazilian legend had this to say.
I have a number, I just wake up every day in the morning and say, God, thank you so much. I'm here again. And when I have a chance to put everything together, between my work, my company, and my training, I just say, oh my God, I can't do this again. Wow, I'm so lucky. It's not very good to when I pass the news for my family. When I go fight again. Everybody, no ways, Dad, you crazy? And yeah, I'm a little crazy. And yeah, it's a passion, brother. It's a passion.
If you are wondering, with Friday's win, Anderson Silva now holds a professional boxing record of 4-2. He has also competed in a couple of boxing exhibitions against Chael Sonnen and Bruno Machado with no winner declared in either bout. Do you want to see Silva and Weidman square off in a boxing match? Manel Kape defends Joshua Van following backlash. Joshua Van continues to take heat online for how he celebrated his win over Alexander Pantoja at UFC 323. However, one of the top flyweight contenders and a possible next opponent, Manel Kape, recently came to Van's defense. Pantoja's reign as champion came to a sudden end at UFC 323 after he injured his arm while falling to the mat early in the fight. Because the win was seen as fluky, not everyone appreciated how emphatically Van celebrated, especially since Pantoja is widely considered one of the best fighters in the world. Following Kape's knockout win over Brandon Royval a week later, he spoke with TMZ and was asked about Van's celebration. Kape defended the 24-year-old, saying Van celebrated how he felt in the moment and that not everyone has the maturity or experience to process something like winning a world title. He said people should not be so hard on Van because many have never experienced winning a championship themselves. Kape added that Van would go home, calm down and move on. Kape also added that at the end of the day nobody really cares and that Van is the champion and the one holding the belt, which is all that matters. He said Joshua Van is the real champion and that was a real championship fight. While Kape defended Van, he also issued a warning saying Joshua Van is the real champion and that he is coming for the head of the real champion. It will be interesting to see if Kape is indeed next in line to face Van. Since Pantoja's disastrous night at UFC 323, he has stated that he does not expect to be sidelined for long. If that is the case, a rematch between Van and Pantoja could happen. New details emerge regarding Ilia Topuria and Georgina Uskatigi. Now that it has been confirmed Ilia Topuria will not be defending his title anytime soon, more details continue to surface about his split from Georgina, and the situation appears to be getting uglier. For some time it was rumored that Topuria's UFC hiatus was connected to a divorce. The champion later acknowledged that personal issues were the reason for his break from fighting. More recently, reports claimed that after Topuria filed a civil separation lawsuit, Georgina allegedly threatened to release evidence of domestic abuse if her financial demands were not met. In a follow-up statement, Topuria said he has been subjected to severe and unacceptable pressure, including threats to spread false allegations of domestic abuse unless financial demands were met. Journalist Marta Corbel from El Mundo continues to report on the story. In a summary of her reporting, several details were highlighted. The two have a prenuptial agreement. Georgina currently lives in the family home with their daughter and does not have another residence in Spain, as her family network is based in the United States and Venezuela. Topuria's life has reportedly been recorded around the clock for the past 2.5 years due to a documentary being filmed, and he claims to have recordings that prove he is innocent of the abuse allegations. At this time, the two sides have not reached an agreement on financial terms. It was also reported that Topuria refused to give in to what he viewed as blackmail. However, a source close to the situation maintains that there is no extortion and that this is a normal divorce process where both sides are trying to reach a financial agreement. Without an agreement, the situation continues to escalate. Based on the current information, it does not appear that this situation will be resolved anytime soon, which could unfortunately mean we may not see Topuria back in the octagon for a while. That will wrap up the video for today. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We will see you tomorrow.